Hi guys, a huge welcome back to the loft and to my next video. Um, the response to the last video was just absolutely fantastic. It was definitely my most popular video so far, and a huge welcome to all of my new subscribers. It's fantastic to have so many people who are here following me on the journey building this huge N-gauge loft layout. Um, Today's video is a little bit different. Rather than a layout update, I hinted to this in my last video, I want to show you how I built this. This is the Scalescenes Multi-Story Car Park, and it's a half relief car park as you buy the kit, the download kit, and I've used basically two of them to create a full relief car park. I've also installed lights to it as well, and it's basically ready now to go on the layout. It's a download kit, as I say. They're great fun to make, and with everything that's going on at the moment, with a lot of people locked down at home, it's a nice easy thing for you to do. You just need some paper, some cards, glue, a download, and off you go. That's all I'm going to say about the craziness that's going on in the world at the moment. You may notice in the video I've tried to edit it out, but when I was building this 3-4 weeks ago, my only concern was around getting these little cheap plastic cars from China, and obviously things have moved on massively since then. So I hope you enjoyed the video. As I say, it's a little bit different. I will be back with my next video on the layout update. And I'm actually hoping to have that on the next week, because I spent my entire last weekend up in the loft self-isolating, and you can probably see this great big pile of things here, and my platforms are underneath them being glued down and weighed down. So that will be my next video. So again, thank you to all the new subscribers. If this is the first time watching one of my videos, if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button, and love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear what you think about the car park. Thanks guys, take care, look after yourselves, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye. Hi guys, so you join me at the kitchen table. On my chopping board, got a big pile of things in front of me, and I am going to be making the Scalescenes.com multi-story car park. Now that's what it looks like. I'm not going to take you through the step-by-step of building this. These things are pretty simple to make, and in my opinion they come out really well. This cost me £4 to download online, and all you need in addition to that is some cardboard, some matte photo paper to print it out, a little bit of matte varnish to give this a spray, and voila, you could build yourself a model, and obviously some glue as well. Now this car park, you might have seen it on layouts online and on YouTube before, but this is actually only half a car park. It's a low relief car park, and it's got a solid back on it. Now I want to adapt this because I don't want it to be low relief. This is going to be sitting right outside my station building. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to document and show you how I take this from being low relief to being full relief. I couldn't find any videos or any pictures online where anybody's done this before. I'm sure they have. I'm sure it just hasn't been documented. So that's what I thought I would do. It's winter, it's cold, so it's the perfect job for over a couple of evenings sat here at the dining table. I have printed out 2 copies of all the parts that I need, and I have mounted them already onto 1mm grey board. Now different things get mounted, so it'll tell you here in the instructions if I get in the camera. Heavy card, where's that? There we go. Heavy card, light card, print only, and on the bottom of each sheet when you print it out it will tell you. So there's a sheet here. So this one, for example, print only. So everything that has to be on heavy card, which is most of this model, is on the 1mm grey board. Anything that is light card, I just use an 80 gram white card, and anything that's print only is just, as it says, it just comes out of the printer. So I am going to build this. The only thing I'm going to do different is this is the back of it. And what I'm going to do, I'm reading the instructions, I can see that on each one of these lines is where the floors are going to sit of the car park. Now I'm going to cut out as carefully as I can each one of these squares because I want the car park to be open from the front to the back. Other than that, I am going to build the front of the front of the car park exactly as it says on the instructions. And once that's done, I will come back to you and hopefully I will have something that resembles this. The only thing I might not have got done at this stage actually is these side walls, because I'm going to have to adapt them to join the two different units together. But let me go away and do that, and I will be back to you as soon as that is done. I will see you shortly. So welcome back, guys. You joined me about a week after the last part of the video was shot, and I've been busy working away on my multi-story car park, and the good news is the first part of it is complete. And here we have my car park. Now please remember this is N-gauge, so it's quite small, but this has been built pretty much as per the instructions that come from Scalescenes. A couple of things that are a little bit different. I have inserted cars and glued them on each of the different parking levels inside. Now those cars, they're just cheap ones. This is N-gauge, so getting detailed cars is very difficult. So these are from China, and you get a big bag of 50 cars for about £10. I've used up most of this bag, either on the layout or in this car park, and I've just actually tried to order some more, and the order was cancelled because they're no longer available. Now these, as I say, came from China, so maybe that's just a sign of the way things are at the moment out there. But I've got a few left which I'll use in the back of the car park, but I'll need to try and pick up some more of them at some point in the future. Now the other big change that I've made to this is I haven't put in either of the two pieces that should be at the back here, and remember that's because this, as it comes, is half relief, low relief, whatever you want to call it, but it's half a car park, and I want to convert this to be a full car park. The other big thing that I've done is in the back, if you remember, where it was solid walls, I've cut a hole, which you can see leads into each of the car parks, so that when I build the back of this, it will be able to go straight the way through, so cars will be able to drive through on it. A couple of other things that I've done a little bit different. Now, all of the interior detail for the ground floor, and that includes the footpath outside, and this island and the ticket dispenser, can you see that? Yeah, and the barriers inside there. That's all supposed to be glued to your baseboard once you get this in position, but actually what I've done is I've used a 1mm piece of grey board, and I've stuck all this to the grey board, and then what I'll do is the road etc outside, I'll use 1mm grey board as a foundation for that as well. It just helps me because I'm trying to build this as a back-to-back unit. I haven't put the name on just yet of the actual car park. I'm going to add that in a little while. I'll show you that. And the other thing I've done is I've added lights to this as well. Now if I turn this around, you can see all the wires coming out of it. There's two sets of wires. Red and black is 12 volt, and those are some little lights, there you go, that you've got in here. Now I just get these from eBay. You can get them kind of anywhere, and this is them. They're just little flat 12 volt LEDs with built-in resistors and all that kind of good stuff. So that is what I put on each floor. Now because this is going to be cut and open through, that light will shine through to the back. I don't need a huge amount of light in this, and you'll see at the end of the video when I light it all up that this works really well. And then what I've also done is I've added 3 little lights along the roof on the front of the car park, which will both illuminate this NCP car park sign, but will also illuminate the top floor of the car park. And you see they're tiny little lights. What I've used for them, there's around on my table, is these. This is an N-gauge street light, and on the end of this, the actual light part, is a tiny little LED light. And what you could do with this is, if you just, this metal, so if you just bend it, it straightens up. I don't want to break this one, but it straightens up, and then if you just hold the head and twist it. It takes a little bit of perseverance. It'll eventually come loose, and then you can just literally slide all of this piece off, and all you're left with is the head with the wires still attached. And then I've just used a little bit of super glue just to glue them in place along the top here. And then what I've then done is I've used a little bit of heat shrink just to make some cable trunking for that wires to run in along the back and down. Now, this car park, as I said, as it comes, as you buy from Scalescenes, it's half relief. The great thing about the Scalescenes kits is once you've bought them, you can print as many copies as you want for your own personal use. So that's what I've done. I've printed 2 copies of this, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a mirror of the car park on the back. Now I've put the lift shaft on the back already, and the reason I've done that is because I needed somewhere to hide all those wires that are coming out of the car park. So I've ended up with my 3-volt, which is for those lights that are on the top. Just there, they're blue and brown. They'll be connected to my 3-volt supply, and the 12 volts is red and black, and that'll be connected to my 12-volt supply. Now, what I've also done, where I've glued each one of these lights inside, I've glued the wire running along on each floor, and then on top of where I've glued the wire, I've also put a tiny piece of masking tape, and then I've just painted over the top of the masking tape, just using some artist acrylic, Stormcloud grey, just to blend all of that in so that you can't see the wires, which were originally red and black, or you can't also see the tape or anything like that. It's all blended in. So in front of me, I'm ready to get started, and on the table, as you can see, I've already cut out and mounted onto grey board and wrapped and prepared all of the parts for the back of the car park, so the next side of it. And I've done all these just as per the instructions, so just follow the instructions. Basically make the low relief first, but don't put any top sections in. Leave these 2 sections open for now, and cut out all of these all the way through, and then basically I'm going to build the car park again on this side. Couple of things that I want to do a little bit differently though. I want to put ramps in so that the cars can get from one level to another. Now, this is not necessarily necessary, is that a word, in N-Gauge, because it's going to be quite hard to see. If you're building this in 00, which is exactly the same kit, just obviously twice the size, you would see much more detail inside of it. So all I've done is I've took the roof sections. So this is the roof section as it comes in the kit. That's the underside, and that's the car park. And basically these just sit on each level like this all the way down. And what you do is you attach to that these beams, which is 2 pieces of grey board cut out, glued together, wrapped, and then they stick on in the 4 places. What I want, as I say, is a ramp. So what I've done, here's one I prepared earlier in true Blue Peter style, is I've just cut down, down, and then scored gently here to create a ramp that can then turn the side on, be glued down to the next level. Now it's quite a steep ramp, but you're not going to see it that well, and I'm happy with that. You might not be, you might want to take it a bit further back, but I'm happy with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a ramp on each level, so that basically the cars come in from the entrance at the front, comes up, drives around, goes up, drives around, goes up all the way until we get the final ramp, which will come up on the top up here. Trial and error with this. I created a little piece of grey board to use as a template. I've scribbled the word ramp on there, and I just used that to make sure they're the same size on every one. Pop that there, cut, scored, bend, and then that, when it goes in, that bit will be glued down, and that's how I'll get the ramp. Now it's worth pointing out at this point that as well as all the pieces that come with the kit, and you can do this with Scalescenes kits, is I have created an extra sheet of parts. And this extra sheet of parts, the way I do it, there's lots of different ways to do it. If you've got Photoshop or some good equipment like that on your computer, you'll be able to use that. I don't have that. So I open the PDFs using a PDF reader. I use the snipping tool that's on the computer, and I highlight what I want. So in this case, I need 2 more sidewalls. highlighted that, copy it, paste it into a PowerPoint, and then print it out. So what I've got here is 2 extra sidewalls, because once I have the 2 pieces together, there's going to be a gap here. So by putting an extra sidewall overlapping the 2, that will hide that joint. So I've done 2 extra ones of them. Ignore these, don't need these, so it was just me playing around. I've done an extra infill wall for the back because I might just need a bit of brickwork to match and to go up here. The side wall edges are here. I've also, this is the car park sign that'll go on the front as it comes, and it says Station Road Car Park. I've just adapted one of these in PowerPoint so it actually says Welcome to Pride Parkway Car Park, which is what I want. And then I've just created these little grey arrow areas, which is what I'm going to stick onto each of these ramps just to highlight that it's a ramp going up and down. Not necessary in Engage, but I want to do it, so I'm going to do it. Modeler's rule and all that. So I am going to disappear. I'm going to get all of these sides put in, and then once I've got all of these sides put in, I will come back to you. Also probably worthwhile just pointing out as well, I have put a hole in the bottom, so I just need to feed these wires through that hole, and then I'll drill a hole in the baseboard on the layout for them wires just to come through. So I just need to reposition them now, get these back bits in, and then I will come back to you to show you the next steps. So I will be back with you in a few minutes. Okay, so there we have it. The back of the car park is on. That was a little bit fiddlier than I was expecting it to be. Not the actual attaching the layers, that's really, really simple. But because I have put, as you can see here, the ramps in between each one, that was quite a lot of work. I did what I said I was going to do in the last video and the last clip. But what I realised, which I should have known, was once you push that down, actually the distance from here to here is greater than what you've got. So you end up with a little gap. If you imagine that the ramp goes from there, once you push it down, you end up with this gap that you can see here. So what I had to do is just use a little bit of grey board and just some super glue, and basically on the grey board, I cut it to the right size, added some super glue down that end and that end, took a pair of tweezers, this bit's too big, I'm just showing you how I did it, and just attached it, held it until it dried. It was probably about a third of the size of this, and then that gave me something to glue the ramp that was going down onto. So you can see there, hopefully, yep, how each one goes down, and there's just a small piece of grey board, as I say, that attaches that there. And then over the top, I've either used the arrows that I printed from my extra sheet, or you also get a choice of 2 different bases depending on whether you want a left hand or a right hand entry. So you can see I've just chopped some of this grey paper from here, that's the same colour as all the other floors in the car park, and use that. And one thing that I didn't mention earlier is in the ground floor, in this back area, oh, there we go. I haven't bothered putting any covering down on there because you won't see it, because it's going to be solid walls all the way around. So you won't see that, but you will see these ramps, and you'll be able to see them from that side. You can just see as you look through there, the ramps, but once it's lit up, you'll definitely see them. So actually, I'm pleased I've done it. So I'm going to leave that to dry for a little while. Once that's dry, I'm going to start putting the roof on. The roof's going to go on exactly as per the instructions. The only thing that I've done a little bit different, if you remember when I built the front half, was I didn't fill these 2 gaps, because at that point in time I wasn't sure where the roof was going to be and where the ramp was going to be. Now the ramp's on this side, which means I don't have a ramp there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this one open, because obviously cars will drive up, they'll drive round, and they'll need to be able to access these parking spaces, and then they'll drive back round to come back down on the ramp. So the piece that you get in the kit for the roof, for one of the sides, I'm actually going to put on this side, because obviously I don't want a car to drive through and fall down the ramp. So that's going to go into there. I'm going to have to make it double-sided, which is why I printed that extra brick paper earlier. That goes on the top, goes right there. The roof, which is all as per the instructions with the ramp on it, that's going to go on there. And then I'll have the 2 side walls, which should go in place there and the sign which runs along the top there. So I'm going to get all that glued on and in place, and then I'll come back to you with what the next steps are. Alright, so I've progressed quite far. I have put the roof on, like I said I was going to do, just as per the instructions. I've got a retaining wall inside there, not a retaining wall, it's just a wall. We've got the sign on the top there, we've got the lift shaft, and then I've added the two sides. Now in addition to adding the two sides, I've added a third piece just here, which hides the join between the two different sections of the wall. And I've also added the parking sign on the top there. And then just at the bottom, just to kind of add a little bit more detail and to match these, I've added just a thin strip of 1mm grey board along there, just kind of as a concrete base. And then I've just painted that again using the same Stone Cloud Grey acrylic paint that I used. So just painted that along there. I've added all of these bottom pieces, so remember you're not going to be able to see it on the bottom level. They're all there. And I've also added the cars. I've used up all of the last of the China cars that I had. So they're all in, and I just used a big old glob of glue because you're not going to see it under the cars, and I don't want them moving around or coming loose. So they're all in there until I've run out, and then I've just put one on the top. And I've made this pretty much like how car parks are. So the lower levels will tend to have more cars on, and then you'll get less cars as you get higher up where people can't be bothered to walk up and down. That's more prevalent on the front, which is what you're going to see more of. But because I've now run out of cars, that was as many cars as I could put in there. But that's it. They were cheap cars, so I'm not too worried about how many of them I've used. If I was buying Oxford die cast or something more expensive, then obviously it would work out quite a lot of money. So one job left to do. Oh, sorry, I should add as well, I've also added the sign on the front as well. The Welcome to Pride Parkway car park sign is on there as well. So the next job is to get all of these side and front pieces added onto the back. They're already prepared. They've been cut out. Actually, each one's made up of 1, 2, 3 pieces of grey board and then wrapped. Oh, sorry, if I show you on the camera. 3 pieces of grey board and then wrapped, and they just sit. It's got a little ledge on the back there, and that's just going to sit like that. Now, one thing just to point out, when you glue on your cars in, you obviously need to glue them in before you put these in, because once that's on there, there's not going to be enough space to get the cars in or out. And the other thing to remember is you need to set the car just back a little bit, just because so you need enough space for that to be able to sit on there. So you know, about 3-4 mils set back. So I'm going to go away, I'm going to get all these glued onto this, and then I will come back and show you the final piece. And just like that, it is done. So that is all of those back walls put on, all in place, and it's pretty much ready. So it just needs to sit overnight to let the glue all dry on it. Once the glue's dried on it properly, I will do a little bit of weathering with some weathering powders, just a little bit, it doesn't need very much on this, and I will then give it a quick spray of matte varnish just to tone down any glue marks that might be on it. But all in all, I have took the Scalescenes low or half relief multi-story car park and transformed it into a full relief car park. So I'll get that weathered, I'll get the matte varnish on it, get it lit up, and I will insert a picture so you can see what the finished article looks like. I hope you enjoyed the video. A little bit different to what my normal layout updates are, but I couldn't find, as I say, anybody online who'd made this into full relief. I'm sure they have, I just couldn't find anything, so perhaps somebody might find this video useful. If you're new to Pride Parkway, please do like, subscribe, leave your comments below. Do remember, if you're commenting, that this is N-gauge, so sometimes some of the bits are really fiddly. This is a pencil against the size of the car park, so just keep in mind how small this is. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you with an update soon. Cheers, bye bye.